Om Namah Shivaya. 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 An appointment with myself. Right now, I have the luxury of just being with myself. When I have no obligation to be with someone, I have no obligation to take care of someone, I have no obligation to be approved by someone. I can afford to be just myself. When I am not being judged by someone, and therefore I don't want to make an attempt to pretend to be someone else. I don't have to make attempt to pretend to be acceptable. I can be my simple self with all my limitations. I know I'm not perfect. I have shortcomings. I am not always able to live up to the expectations of others. Very often that leaves me guilty. Sometimes others do not treat me as I expect. Then I am hurt. There are these possibilities of my hurting someone. If I lose control over myself, then I feel guilty. Sometimes others lose control over themselves and do or say something which hurts me. This hurt and guilt are the vasanas, the samskaras. Since there is a pattern in my mind which makes me react in a certain way, and therefore when I am treated in a manner which I consider inappropriate, I feel hurt. Not everyone may feel hurt in a similar situation, but I do. That is because certain patterns of judgment are built in my mind. That certain kind of behavior I automatically judge as inappropriate. conclude it was deliberate. And when my conclusion is that someone deliberately treated me inappropriately, I feel hurt. Similarly, when I judge my own behavior, when I conclude that I deliberately did something inappropriate, then I feel guilty. Thus, judging a given situation is based on the patterns built in my mind. Those patterns are called vasanas. And I should attempt to neutralize them. For example, when I feel hurt, I conclude that someone deliberately mistreated me. But it is quite possible that when someone mistreated me, it was their own vasanas that compelled them to behave in that manner. In their mind, there are the built-in patterns which make them react in a certain way. It is quite likely that I became a victim, not of a deliberate behavior, but I became a victim of a reactionary behavior. The other person reacted, meaning the other person was compelled to behave in a certain manner by their own built-in patterns. When these patterns or vasanas, when they are strong, then the person becomes helpless. As I often find with myself, I find myself having done something which I regret later on. That shows that behavior was not deliberate. It was prompted by some pressure within. That pressure is vasana. And therefore, if I were to blame something, I should rather blame the vasanas of that person rather than that person. That there are some built-in strong patterns of judgment, patterns of behavior, all inherited from the past, they form the nature of the person, and very often the person is compelled by the nature. If I had to blame someone, it is not so much the person as the nature of the person. And nature is the product of past samskaras. Nature is the product of vasanas. One packet of vasanas interacting with another packet of vasanas. This is how the life is. When I stand aside and observe, I can see how this is playing out in my life. When I feel hurt, I blame the other person. When I feel guilty, I blame myself. Rather than blaming the other person, let me remind myself that it is the vasanas, the impulses, the pressures, the strong patterns which make the person behave the way the person does. The person is helpless under the pressure of these built-in vasanas or patterns. Therefore, if I have to blame something, I should blame the vasanas. I should blame the inner pressure which makes a person behave the way the person does. And these vasanas or patterns are products of past thinking, behavior, education, culture, upbringing, the karmas of the past lives. Something that the person has inherited. And therefore, we cannot blame the person for what the person has inherited. When I see this in my mind, I can recognize the helplessness of the person. All reactive behavior is out of helplessness. Even if that behavior appears deliberate, it is still helplessness. Because even that deliberateness also is the result of the patterns of conclusion. When I just see the helplessness of the person who hurt me, to sympathize with the person. Not necessarily with the behavior, but I'm able to sympathize with the person behind the behavior. A helpless person, controlled by inner pressures. By themselves, the person is a kind, beautiful person. That kindness and beauty become evident when the person is not controlled by pressures. When there is freedom from pressure, when the cloud of these pressures of vasanas momentarily clears, we do get the glimpse of the beauty and kindness and goodness of that person. That is the true nature of the person. Not this aggressive, dominating, hurtful. That is not the nature. That is incidental, like the sting of a sandalwood piece. Very often we become victim of those stings. But even when the sandalwood is stinking, it is inherently fragrant. Thus every person is inherently fragrant. Which means kind and loving and good. When I bring that picture of the person in my mind, I am able to let go my anger or resentment towards that person. When I see the goodness, the kindness of the real person, when I realize that the unacceptable behavior was out of helplessness, that the person is inherently a kind, good, beautiful person. I'm able to let go of my resentment and anger, which are born out of a sense of hurt. When that happens, not only I am forgiving that person, but I am treating my own vasanas. Because the resentment and anger that arose in me due to hurt, the resentment and anger was due to my own pressures, my own built-in patterns. When I replace them by the sympathy and kindness, I am neutralizing my own vasanas. Meaning that by accommodating the other person, by sympathy towards other person, I am treating myself, I am healing myself. I am the beneficiary. And similarly, when I feel guilty because I acted in a certain way, which I later judge as inappropriate, I have to recognize that inappropriate behavior on my part was due to my built-in pressures, my built-in patterns. At that moment, those pressures took over me and made me act in a manner which I later judged as inappropriate. I am the same boat as the other person when I hurt someone else. Inherently, I'm also a good, kind, loving person. Sometimes my behavior may be inappropriate when I am controlled by those pressures. So the sense of guilt is treated by being sympathetic and kind to myself. Which self? Myself that was helpless under the pressures of strong built-in patterns. Vasana kshaya, attenuation of vasanas, thinning out of vasanas, reducing the vasanas. When I thus treat the feelings of hurt and guilt in a healthy manner, what is healthy manner? That which takes into account the true nature, which is good, kind, loving. the other person is a good, kind, loving person, and I am also a good, kind, loving person. When that is so, then there is joy, happiness. That I am inherently a good, kind, loving person. And I do get glimpses of that person now and then. There are situations when I find myself a good, kind, loving person. And that is my true nature. Similarly, other persons also are inherently good, kind, loving persons. And that is the manifestation of Ishvara. Ishvara is good, kind, loving. That is the basic reality of life. That is the basic reality of myself. That at the core level there is goodness, kindness, love. All distortions are only superficial, like the sting of a sandalwood. Even when the sandalwood is stinking, it is inherently fragrant. And similarly also, even when the world appears to be stinking, we may have lots of complaints, we may have lots to criticize, but we should not be carried away by our complaints, should not be carried away by our criticisms, and remind ourselves that that is the superficial stink. Inherently, there is goodness, kindness, love everywhere. In sentient and insentient beings, that is the most common denominator. That is Ishvara. That is Narayana. That is Shiva. That is Rama, Krishna. To that Lord, my salutations, my surrender. I I let go of all my complaints. I let go all my blaming. That is called Namaha. That is called salutation. That is called surrender. And I commit myself to appreciate the Shiva that is the fragrant content of everything and everybody. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Namaha. I let go all my complaints. I let go all the blaming towards others as well as towards myself. Because when I do that, I am just responding to the superficial sting. I do not take into account the inherent fragrance. Let me respond to the inherent fragrance everywhere. Om Namah Shivaya. 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 Om Namah Shivaya.